Over the last 12 months, I've generated over $100,000 from Upwork. And along the way, I've learned quite a few tips and tricks that I've passed along to members of my Upwork community, and they've gone on to earn tens of thousands of dollars. Like Michael, who I helped go from zero to earning over $10,000 on Upwork in less than 3 months. Like Guillerme, a software developer who went from zero to earning over $8,000 in his first 2 months on Upwork. These tips even helped Marco earn $10,000 on Upwork and earn the top rated badge. And ultimately, these 21 hidden tricks helped me achieve true freedom, start traveling the world, and earn $15,000 each month on Upwork. So get ready. I'm gonna reveal absolutely everything today. Number one is gonna be putting all 15 skill tags into your main profile. Now this sounds pretty simple, but it's actually really, really important. And it's really important because Upwork recently had an update and they slightly changed how their search algorithm works. And so essentially, if I go on Upwork and I have a client account as well, so if I go to my client account and search up Google Ads and I'm searching for freelancers, you'll see that all of the freelancers that are popping up first have this Google Ads skill tag in their profile. And so it just really, really increases the importance of having relevant, highly relevant skill tags in your main profile and making sure you fill out all 15 of those skill tags. And the best way that I'd recommend you do this is simply go to Upwork and search for jobs. So if you offer Google Ads, you would search Google Ads, looking for jobs, of course, and then see the jobs that you would actually want to apply for, and then just look at what skill tags those jobs have, because jobs also have skill tags. And so that's gonna give you a pretty good idea as to what skill tags you should have on your main profile. And in terms of your specialized profiles, you can have essentially unlimited skill tags in each of your specialized profiles. And so I would just recommend to take some time and fill out, all relevant skill tags into each specialized profile that you have. The second tip I have for you guys is actually a bunch of different tips, but they all fall under the category of portfolio secrets. And so the portfolio is extremely important and it's pretty slept upon. And so if you offer a visually stimulating service like graphic design or video editing, then the portfolio is one of, if not the most important part of your entire profile. And so it's pretty simple, right? If you offer a visually stimulating service, just fill it out, make sure you have tons of examples of your work, and you have at least 3 different sections of that portfolio, right? And here's a quick tip, whether you offer a visually stimulating service or a non-visually stimulating service, if you have a video testimonial from any of your clients, put it into the first spot of your Upwork portfolio. See, the first section or first spot of your Upwork portfolio is by far the most viewed one. Now I did this and I cannot tell you how many times I got on a sales call with someone who had viewed that section of my portfolio and they said, "Oh, Nico, I viewed your video testimonial from Jeff. I feel like I'm really similar to him and I'm sure you can help me." And obviously from there, those sales calls are extremely easy, right? And so that's a tip for, whether you offer a visually stimulating service or not, put that video testimonial in the first spot of your portfolio. Now, if you don't offer a visually stimulating service, it's totally fine, but you need to still have a portfolio because it's just a chance for you to set yourself apart from all of the competition on Upwork. So if you offer things like accounting, bookkeeping, Google Ads, Amazon Ads, stuff that's just not very visually stimulating in its nature, the portfolio section is still super important for you to fill out because essentially it's a way for you to completely set yourself apart from all of the other freelancers who don't offer visually stimulating services, who also don't have portfolios. And so there's a couple different strategies for this. Strategy number one is if you offer like Google Ads or Amazon Ads or even like SEO, like something where you have a client dashboard, you could use a tool like Loom and then film, a couple videos that are 2 to 3 minutes and review one of your client's dashboards, right? So if you're running Google Ads for a client, you could pull up a tool like Loom and film a quick video reviewing those campaigns. So like, okay, this is client XYZ. We are running 7 campaigns right now for him with 3 ad sets in each of the campaigns. We're targeting these interests, we're targeting these demographics, these are the results. We're, right now achieving a 4x ROAS, whatever, right? Like kind of walk people through each step. If you're offering Facebook ads, you could show them the ads, right? So that's strategy one, and then you can just do 1 video per section of your portfolio. That's a really good way to do it. It works really, really well. Option number 2 also works well. It's a lot simpler. What you can do is just film like 3 videos that are each like 1 or 2 or 3 minutes long, speaking directly to a camera like I am right now, and then essentially just give an overview of the service, right? So if you offer SEO, you could do like 1 video for on-page SEO. Just say, hey, this is what our on-page SEO service includes. this is what we're comfortable doing, this is what we don't offer, this is the results we've achieved. Like, just kind of give people an intro to it. So you could do like on-page SEO, off-page SEO, blog writing, something like that, right? And so those are the two strategies that you could use for the portfolio section if you don't offer a visually stimulating service. And it's really gonna set you apart from everybody. Now, tip number 3 is incredibly simplistic. It's just having a high quality profile picture. And the only reason I'm saying this is because you would be shocked as to how many people actually either don't know that they have a bad profile picture, or they just have a bad one and they don't realize the effect that it's having, the negative effect it's having on their performance on Upwork. And so the reason this plays such a big impact in your success is because when you submit a proposal on Upwork, the client doesn't get to see the entire proposal. They just get a little preview of it, and they get to see your profile picture, your title, your skill tags, and a few stats. And so your profile picture is a big part of getting more views in your proposals, right? So like if you have, it's also like getting invitations on Upwork. It's a big part of that, right? Because they get a little preview with your profile picture when they're inviting you to jobs as well. Now, obviously, if you have a low quality profile picture, like the quality is bad, it's a grainy photo, you're not centered, you're not smiling, your hair isn't brushed, you're not, you're wearing like bad clothes, or they're not very professional, then it's gonna have a negative impact. I guarantee you it's gonna hurt you. Whereas if you just have a nice, simple, clean looking profile picture, center yourself, wear a collared shirt or a nice shirt, smile, brush your hair, like just do the basics and get a high quality photo, it will help you so much. And if you don't have a way to, like, maybe you don't have a good background in your house or your office or whatever, I used headshots.com. I don't have an affiliation with them. I'll put a link below. I think it's like $50, but essentially they'll just kind of clean up your profile picture, make it look a little bit better, a little nicer. So that's what I use. You can use them well if you'd like. Now, tip number 4 is also a really simple one, and it's geared towards beginners, right? So if you're just setting up your Upwork profile for the first time, or maybe you're coming back to it and you're optimizing it further, then a really, really great thing to do is to go on Upwork and switch the little toggle in the right-hand corner, the top right corner, and switch it from jobs to talent. And that's gonna allow you to search for talent on Upwork. And then you can essentially search for people who are in your same industry, and then you can kind of look at their profiles and see what's working for them. Now, I'm not telling you to copy their profiles, right? Don't do that. That's obviously awful. But you can look at like the written introductions. What are some of the things that they're saying? Like, is speed, website loading speed really important to their clients? Are they mentioning it a lot? What skill tags are they using, right? So like stuff like this, again, you don't want to just rip off their profile, but you can use it as inspiration for your profile to kind of guide some of the things that you do with your written introduction, your specialized profile, your skill tags, even the portfolio. Again, don't take their portfolio, but use it as inspiration, right? So that can be really, really helpful if you're just starting out. Number 5 is an SEO tip. So this one is going to be stuffing your title with very commonly searched up phrases on Upwork to help you rank higher in the search rankings. And so the way that essentially Upwork's algorithm works, we already talked about this a little bit, but when a client goes on Upwork and searches, let's say Google Ads, almost everybody who's popping up is gonna have the term Google Ads in their title, right? So like the title is really important, so with the skill tags when it comes to SEO on Upwork. And so packing your title full of very commonly searched up phrases on Upwork is gonna help you rank higher and just get more invites and just get more jobs, right? And so the way I like to think about it is, first, clients are probably gonna search up general phrases, right? So like we just talked about, Google Ads, right? That's a really general, broad phrase. They also might search up something a little bit more specific, like Google Analytics 4. That could still be a Google Ads project, but it's more specific and it's a tool, right? They might search up like lead generation with Google Ads, right? So like think about general phrases that clients might be searching up. Try and include at least, there's probably like one general phrase for your niche, for your industry, your service that you can include, like Google Ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, social media management, right? The base phrase. Then look for more specific phrases. And so if I was gonna offer, let's say social media management, so I would have social media management in the base phrase of my title, then I would put a vertical line, and then I might do something more specific like Instagram management, or just say Instagram, and then I could do another vertical line and say like Facebook, right? So like think about things, general phrases, more specific phrases, and if you're not sure, then you can go to Upwork, again, search up jobs that you would want to apply for, and then just look at what are the commonly used phrases in the job titles, job descriptions, and that's going to really, really help you kind of give you inspiration for what to actually put in these titles, right? So the other thing is tools, Not everyone has enough room for that. But if you're like let's say a web developer, putting tools into your title could be really helpful, like React, maybe Next.js, any other really, really commonly searched up like platforms or tools that would be really important for your clients, right? Because if it's important to them, they also might be searching it. And so that's what we've got for this tip. Pack your title full of commonly searched up phrases and you will actually rank higher versus other freelancers and agencies. Now, tip number 6 is also a really simple one, but not that many people actually do it. And it's especially important if you're just starting out on Upwork. And that is just to complete every single section of your Upwork profile, right? So from top to bottom, complete every section there is. Upwork puts these sections there for a reason. They want you to fill them out. And if you have a 100% completed profile and you have completed every single section of your Upwork profile, which are two different things, right? Because they can be 100% completed without you actually having completed every single thing in there. So complete every single step, every single section, and Upwork is gonna show your profile to more people. They're gonna show it to more clients, right? Because it is important to them. And so especially important if you're just starting out on Upwork, because it's gonna make your profile just look like more full. Right? If you don't have any jobs in there, you've not completed any jobs, you don't have any reviews, again, it's just gonna add some more depth to your profile and give people more information, which is really important when you're just starting out. Tip number 7 is to only offer 2 services, or at the absolute maximum, 3 services on your Upwork profile. Now, if you have an agency, then I would recommend creating multiple profiles that, again, each only have 2 or a maximum of 3 services. Now, the reason for this is we want to seem like specialists. We don't want to seem like a generalist who offers everything under the sun, because the perception of that is if I see someone who offers 25 services, I'm thinking in my head, oh, they're not going to be that good at any of them, right? Because you can't be just absolutely incredible at 25 different services. It just doesn't happen very often, right? And so you can be incredible at 2 services or 3 services. So if you're going to offer 3 services, make sure they're, or regardless, if you offer 2 or 3, make sure that they're very, very closely related, right? So you don't want to be offering bookkeeping and Google ads because they have nothing to do with each other, right? But Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, that makes more sense, right? And so if you're going to offer a bunch of different services, just make sure that they're all very closely related, and then separate them by using specialized profiles. And so you could have a general profile, which I like to have, that kind of talks about all of my services. Mine talks about my team and I, my background, other clients we've worked with, very generally. And then each of the specialized profiles goes super, super in-depth on one specific service, right? And so that's a really, really good way to do it. I highly recommend doing it that way. It splits up your profile nicely. It's really, really well organized, and you can use the specialized profiles to apply to jobs. Number 8 is going to be structuring the written introductions on your Upwork profiles in a way that makes it very easy for clients to read. And so the best way that I have found to do this is to use short paragraphs that are longer than 500 characters and to use lists. And the list can be, tools you're comfortable using, platforms you're comfortable using, or stuff like that. And a member of my premium Upwork community joined last night, and then he immediately DM'd me. He told me he went through the profile optimization module we have, and he told me that he didn't understand the point of these lists. Now, the point of these lists is really, really simple. It's A, to provide valuable information to your clients, because I guarantee you that if a client is hiring for a video editing position, and maybe they already have a video editing team, they're already gonna have a video editing workflow. And so they're gonna want the video editor they hire to be comfortable with these set tools and these set platforms that they're working with, right? Same thing if you're a web developer, then it's gonna be really important that you're able to work with certain platforms and maybe you're able to code in certain languages. Now, obviously, you don't want the list to be massive and to take up your entire profile. And maybe if it is a massive list, like if you're a web developer and you code in every single language ever made, then maybe you just put the most important ones, you put like 7 or 8 of them, and then you can say at the end, and many, many more. Or you can say something like that, right? The point of these lists is to give useful information that clients genuinely care about. And number 2, to make your profile very easy to read, right? And non-intimidating. Like, well, the last thing that we want to happen is for a client to click on your profile, see this ginormous big block of ugly text that looks terrible and intimidating, and it looks like it's gonna take a long time to read, and it looks confusing because they're gonna click off of it and they're not gonna review your profile, no matter how great it is, right? So space out these paragraphs. Like I said, I recommend short paragraphs that are under 500 characters long, and then using lists. And if you do this, your profile is going to be really, really easy to read. It's going to be not intimidating. It'll look nice. It'll look aesthetic. And you're going to give clients lots of very relevant information that they genuinely care about. Number 9 is delivering a high quality service. Now, I know, it's super crazy, but this is not focused on enough. And there's a variety of reasons you need to do this. Number 1, your JSS, so your job success score, has a massive, massive, massive impact on the percentage of views you're gonna get on your proposals, how many messages you're gonna get, and ultimately how many clients you're gonna close on Upwork. It has a massive impact. And it's also, if you're doing a good job and if you have a high JSS, you're gonna be eligible for badges like Upwork Top Rated Plus, and stuff like that. And those will also help you get more views, more messages, and more jobs, right? And aside from that, which should be enough already, but aside from just doing a good job to get a good JSS and more badges, if you think about how Upwork operates, Upwork makes their money via clients. That's fundamentally it. If the clients aren't happy, they leave, and if they don't have clients, they don't have a platform. And so if you're consistently doing a really, really good job, Upwork is gonna show your profile to everybody, right? And you can see this when as a client, if I go on Upwork and I search up Google Ads, everybody who shows up is gonna have a little thing at the bottom of their little preview, and it's essentially gonna say how many jobs they've completed that are relevant to my search as a client. Now, aside from that, Upwork makes money via their clients. That's fundamentally it. If the clients don't exist on Upwork, if they get unhappy and they leave, Upwork has no business. That's fundamentally how they make money. And they wanna keep their clients happy so they can keep making money. And so if you can consistently get more and more and more reviews, you're doing a good job on more projects, you have a 100% JSS score, they're gonna show your profile to everybody. And again, this is proven because if I look up Google Ads on Upwork, if I just search it, you can see everybody that's popping up there has a very, very high JSS score. Nobody, with the exception of people who are boosting their profile, right? With that exception, because that's a paid ads feature, essentially. People who are naturally showing up high in the search rankings all have a very, very high JSS score. So if you can just do that, if you can just do a good job every single time you get a project and you can get a 5-star review, Upwork is gonna show your profile to more and more and more people, and you're gonna get more and more and more jobs and more 5-star reviews, and it's this crazy upward spiral of success. Tip number 10 is really important if you're just starting out your Upwork journey. And it is, if you're new, request testimonials from your past clients. Because like we already spoke about, when you are new, your profile just looks kind of thin, right? Because you don't have any jobs completed, you don't have any reviews on there, and you don't have any money earned on your profile. And so there's less of your profile, right? If you click on my profile, you can see just dozens and dozens of 5-star reviews, there's dozens and dozens of jobs, and so it looks like a bigger profile overall, right? And so for you, if you're just starting out, I highly recommend scrolling down on your profile past the portfolio section, and you're gonna get to this section called testimonials. And you can hit the little plus button next to it, and that'll essentially allow you to request a testimonial from one of your past clients. And all they need to have is a LinkedIn account for Upwork to verify it. That's exactly what I did when I was first starting out on Upwork. I had a handful of clients outside the platform, and so I simply requested testimonials from them, and they were kind enough to write them for me. And so on my profile, instead of just having 0 jobs and 0 reviews and no testimonials, at least I had 5 testimonials that were pretty solid. And so it kind of just helps make up for that, like when you got a new profile, it just looks more thin because you don't have jobs, you don't have reviews. And so having those testimonials really, really, really helps. And I'd highly recommend it. Number 11 is to consistently communicate with your clients. Now, there is a direct correlation from the amount that you communicate with your clients, up to a certain point, of course, and their satisfaction, right? So the more you communicate, the more satisfied they're gonna be. You literally don't have to do anything else. You don't have to do any more work. You just have to communicate with them regularly, right? Obviously, take the volume into account. You don't wanna send them 100 million messages a day, but even if you don't have anything for them to do, sending them an update on things that you have done for them is really, really important. Right? So if I'm offering, let's say video editing on Upwork, might text my client and say, hey, Mr. Client, I finished up the introduction to your long form YouTube video today. I'm gonna be working on 3 reels tomorrow for your Instagram page. Really excited to share everything with you on Friday. Just that, that's it. Because if you're not communicating with them, they just don't know what's happening. They don't know if you're doing anything. And I can speak from personal experience on both sides, right? On the freelancer agency side and on the client side. When I have someone who I've hired and they consistently communicate with me, I love it. It's by far it's one of the most important aspects of an employee or a contractor to me? Are they consistently communicating and just telling me what's being done? Because if they're not, I don't know what's being done sometimes. I don't know the progress, right? So if you just do that, that's gonna help you a lot with A, satisfaction, and B, getting repeat customers, right? So if they're satisfied, they're gonna hire you again. Number 12 is both incredibly simple and incredibly important. And it's just asking clients to leave you feedback, right? And so this is also another reason why it's helpful to communicate, consistently with these clients of yours, because if you get to be communicating with them on a regular basis, A, they're gonna be more satisfied, more likely to leave you a review, and you're gonna be more in a cadence, right? So if you send them a message, they're gonna be opening it and responding it. It's not like you just send them a message out of the blue and it's kind of weird, right? So like consistently communicating is gonna help you get more reviews, and at the end of your projects, you need to ask your clients to leave you a review and literally spell it out to them. I have a message that I send to my clients as soon as the project is ending, right, on Upwork. And essentially it just spells it out for them. It gives them the exact instructions on how to leave me a positive review. And I know some of you might be like, oh, that's redundant. Some of them already know, it's gonna annoy them. Like, it's not. A lot of these people genuinely do not know if it's their first time on Upwork or they've just hired a couple people. Like they might not know how to leave you a review. And so spelling it out for them, like click this button, then click this button, then you'll be able to write me a review. Like just doing that will increase the amount of reviews you have on your profile by a ton. Number 13 is boosting your proposals. Now, boosting your proposals works exceptionally well, right? If you have it in your budget, I highly recommend it. And if you're not already familiar with what boosting your proposals means, essentially, when you submit a proposal to a job on Upwork, the way it shows up on the client screen is all of the proposals are just stacked on top of each other. And like we already said, they can't view the entire proposal, they just get that little preview, right? So all of the previews are just stacked on top of each other. And if you boost your proposal, which is essentially spending more connects to get into the top 4 spots, right? So like, you're gonna see a little leaderboard at the bottom of the job post when you go to submit your proposal, and it's gonna have, maybe a couple people have already boosted their proposals or whatever. There'll be instructions on how to do it. I'm not gonna go too in depth on this right now, but just boosting your proposals and trying to show up in the top 4 spots on Upwork is gonna be incredibly important. Because if you can boost your proposals, then essentially you're gonna guarantee to show up in one of the top 4 spots on the client screen. And if you don't, you're gonna just be randomly assigned a spot. If there's 75 proposals submitted, you might end up the 60th proposal down on the screen. And I guarantee you, if that's happening to you, you're gonna be way less likely to get views and you're gonna be way less likely to get clients. And so the very simplistic strategy on how I boost my proposals is I like to boost as many proposals as I can while staying under 25 connects, right? Because I don't want to be boosting them, 50 connects, 70 connects, because it's just sometimes not worth it. So that's the strategy. I like to boost up until 25. Number 14 is avoid using AI or ChatGPT to write your proposals for you. Now, I've spent tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars hiring employees and contractors specifically on Upwork, and I can tell immediately when someone used ChatGPT to write their proposal and they submitted it to my job. It's incredibly obvious, they're not well written, and I just highly recommend you don't do it. I mean, really, if you use if you develop one proposal template for each service you offer, that's the best way to do it, and then you only have to write like 2 or 3 or 4 personalized sentences each time you submit it. Now, I recommend using AI and ChatGPT to proofread, or like Grammarly, especially if English isn't your first language, but don't use it to write your actual proposals. It's not gonna do a good job. Number 15 is gonna be a simple tip to personalize your proposals. And that's just finding the client's first name and starting your proposal with their first name. Like I said, I've spent a lot of money hiring people, contractors, and employees on Upwork, and I've reviewed thousands and thousands of proposals. And I can tell you for a fact that the majority of people don't take the time to find my first name and start their proposal with, "Hey Nico," or "Dear Nico." And I can tell you that the people who do this immediately catch my attention. Like they completely separate themselves from everybody else because I know they actually just took the time to find my first name. And it makes a big difference for me, and I'm sure for a lot of other clients who are hiring. And so the way you do this, click on the job post, scroll all the way down to the client's recent history section, and you're gonna look for feedback from the freelancer to the client, where the freelancer references the client's first name. And ideally, you'll find a couple of them to make sure the name is consistent, like a couple of different reviews from freelancer to client where they reference the same name. And then just start your proposal with hey or dear, and then that client's first name. Number 16 is never stop pitching. Now, the absolute last thing that you want to have as a freelancer is have 3 or 4 clients and you're really, really busy and so you stop submitting proposals, and then all of a sudden 1 week goes by and all 3 of those projects end, and then you're left with no clients, and because you haven't been submitting proposals, you have no other options. And so I highly encourage you, unless you're 100% busy and you have, an absolute maximum number of clients that you can handle right now, unless that's you, I would highly encourage you that you submit still proposals, even if it's 2 a day, right? 3 a day. Not that many, but still submitting proposals when you are busy with clients is just gonna basically ensure that you always have a steady flow of work, right? So I'd highly encourage you, just stay consistent and keep submitting proposals. Number 17 is to film an awesome intro video. Now, this is exactly what Austin, a member of my premium Upwork community, did, and it helped him sign his first 2 clients on Upwork. And essentially, there are 2 strategies that I teach to my premium community members on how to film these intro videos. Strategy number 1 is really, really simple. You're just gonna pop up a camera like I am right now and speak directly to it. You're gonna introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, how you got started providing this service, talk about your experience, right? Do you have a decade of experience? If you're offering SEO, go a little bit more in depth. So if you offer SEO, do you do on-page SEO? Do you do off-page? Do you write blogs? Do you do, whatever, keyword research? Go in depth, talk about your services and what you offer and your experience offering them, and overall, just kind of what makes you different than the competition. Videos, intro videos filmed using this strategy are typically 1 to 2 minutes long, which is totally fine, right? Both of these strategies work very well. So that's strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is if you do have social proof, or you offer a really visually stimulating service and you have high quality examples of your work, then it's gonna be to film a quick video speaking directly to the camera. Again, introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, your services that you're offering, and then transition into providing some social proof, if you have any, right? If you don't have any, again, high quality examples of your work also work with this. So for my video, that's exactly what I did. I introduce myself, then I play a video testimonial from one of my clients, then I share 2 case studies, then I play a second video testimonial from another one of my clients, and then I show off some examples of my work at the end, right? That's kind of my format. Again, it's up to you how you kind of want to style this if you go with video number 2. But the goal here is, again, introduce yourself quickly, then provide some social proof or high quality examples of your work. If you're gonna use this strategy, I'd encourage you to stay under 6 minutes. If it gets to be 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes, people are just not gonna watch till the end, or a lot less people will. So that's the basic strategy for strategy number 2. Again, both of them work really well. Just choose one of them and then put it on your profile. And again, this helps build a ton of trust with their clients because they can just see you, they can see you're a real person, you're a real guy, you're a real girl, you're not a scammer. And again, it just builds a whole lot of trust. Number 18 is learning to use Upwork's search function instead of just relying on the default feed of jobs they're suggesting for you. Now, the main reason for this is that Upwork's algorithm is not that good. And if you're just relying on the default feed, that shows up on the Upwork home screen, if you're relying on that to give you the jobs that you're applying for, you're inevitably gonna be missing out on jobs that could be a perfect fit for you because you're just not seeing them. Right? And so the way I like to do this is do keyword research. Quickly, how I do that, I put together a big list of platforms I use, services I offer, and the tools I use. So example of one of each is services, social media management, social media manager, platforms, Instagram, tools, Canva, right? You get the idea. Make a big list, play around with it, and then kind of put those into the Upwork search engine, search them on Upwork. And then you're just gonna basically see which search terms lead to jobs that you wanna fulfill. And then you'll put together a list, those search terms, and you'll use those to search for the jobs on Upwork instead of just relying on the default feed. Tip number 19 is that social proof is king. Now, you want to include as much social proof as you possibly can in things like your written introductions of your general profile and your specialized profiles. You want to include social proof in the first spot of your portfolio, like we already talked about. We want to include social proof inside your proposals. And so some examples of social proof could be the number of years of experience that you have, any big companies or clients that you currently have, any impressive statistics that you have. Like if you've spent $100 million on paid ads over the last 7 years, mention it because it's super, super impressive and it gives you a ton of credibility. Other forms of social proof are like testimonials, written testimonials, and case studies are also really, really helpful aspects of social proof that you can include in your written introductions, you can include in your portfolio sections, right? And so include social proof. And going right off of that last one, tip number 20 is to add a PS section at the bottom of your proposals and include some form of social proof in there. Now, my personal favorite is to include a video testimonial. And the way you do this is either upload it to your Upwork portfolio, and then you can just attach the link to that specific Upwork portfolio at the bottom of your proposals. That's the best way to do it. If you can do a video testimonial, do it. If you can't, you could provide like a review or a written testimonial. And so now the way you're gonna do this is simply after the signature of your proposal, you're gonna write, PS, you might enjoy reading this testimonial from one of my happy clients. And then you'll put, in quotes, the testimonial that is the best, that you like the most, that you think represents, you and your services the best. And that is gonna help you so much. Whether you choose to do video testimonial or written one, just having a PS section is proven to increase click-through rate in things like emails and proposals, right? Same concepts. And so add a PS section, it adds curiosity for people as soon as they open up your proposals, and having social proof in there is just gonna build confidence and help you get even more clients. And tip number 21 is don't be afraid to test different hourly rates on your profile. If you're a freelancer and you're offering services at $15 an hour and you have a ton of work, then raise your hourly rate on your profile to $20 an hour or $25 an hour. And obviously you can't raise your rate for clients that you already have, but for future clients, you can just test out that new hourly rate and see how does it affect your KPIs. Are you still getting the same amount of views on your proposals? Are you still getting messages? Are you still closing deals? And most of the time, just changing and testing your price or your hourly rate is the easiest way to make you more money. Because if you can go from, offering services at $15 an hour to offering services at $20 an hour, you just massively increase the amount of money you're gonna make by like 30%. And most times, simply testing different hourly rates on your profile is the easiest way for you to make way more money. Because if you think about it, if you're offering services at $15 an hour and you bump to $20 an hour or $25 an hour, it's very, very possible that you're gonna get the same amount of clients and you're just gonna make way more money. And you're still gonna be doing the same amount of work. You're just gonna make more money for it, right? And so don't be afraid to test things like this. This is a very, very commonly thing that we discuss in our premium community, on our coaching calls, on our Q&A calls. It has to be, I get a question about this every single week. And what I tell people is don't be afraid to do it. Like test things, play around with it. Worst case scenario, you're busy, you've got a lot of work, and then you decide to bump up your hourly rate and you don't get as many clients, and then you can simply lower it if you want to. It's really, really simple. But having a higher hourly rate is, again, probably the easiest way that you're ever gonna be able to make more money on Upwork, and it's something that I highly, highly recommend you test out. Now, one thing to note here is you don't wanna bump your hourly rate from $20 an hour to $70 an hour, right? That's a massive jump. You wanna make smaller incremental jumps of like 5 to 10, or at the most like $15 an hour. Now, competition on Upwork is becoming fierce, but with these 21 tips and tricks, you can easily cut through the noise. Now, these tips and tricks have been proven to work time and time again, both for my own profile and for members of my premium Upwork community, like Jonathan, who used these tips and tricks to book a meeting after submitting just 3 proposals. And like Jacob, who I helped go from 0 to earning over $8,000 on Upwork in just 6 weeks. And lastly, if you want a more in-depth guide on how to scale your freelance or agency business to $15,000 a month by only using Upwork, just watch this video right here.